All right. It is me again. Um, like who else would it be? Come on. All right. So today I'm gonna do a video on another recommendation that I had from someone. Actually from Chris from work. We were kind of talking about this movie a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna dive into Carrie from 1976. So I'm mainly going to talk about this one here, bulk of the video. I'm going to talk probably more towards the end, like just briefly on the remakes, plural on that. But I know at least with like the 2013 remake, I plan on kind of doing like a separate video somewhere down the line. Because you guys know I just kind of do videos on whatever I'm kind of feeling, or maybe suggestions like this. Um, so, gotta say, just gotta start off with just kind of saying how many people were in this movie. Like, every time I watch it, I'm always like, God, there's a lot of people in this. You know, I mean, like, obviously, Sissy Spacek was in it, obviously, as Carrie. John Travolta was in it. I think I don't think it was his first role, but maybe like one of his first roles. Um, it's also obviously Piper Laurie. I think a lot of you guys probably know her from like The Faculty. She's been in a ton of stuff too, obviously. Nancy Allen from the RoboCop series and Poltergeist 3. PJ Souls obviously was in here. You know, she was also in Rock and Roll High School and Halloween, obviously, and in a few other things too, obviously. Um, Priscilla Pointer, who I know she's been in a lot of stuff, but I know a lot of people would probably also know Priscilla Pointer from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. She was like the nurse in there. And then also William Catt. I don't know how many of you might recognize this guy, but I know he was in the 80s TV show The Greatest American Superhero and in the movie House, which is totally different from like the TV show House. So just for you guys know, and anyone who hasn't seen the House movies, I know there's like 4 of those movies. I haven't seen like the other 2, but I've seen House 1 and 2. Watch those movies, kooky little movies, good humor in it. Watch those movies. Possible video on on those one day, maybe. I'm not sure yet. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of people in here, and also Edie McCurg from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She was in a ton of stuff. She was the secretary to Edward Rooney in that movie. Great actress. Looks a bit different. She was a little thinner in Carrie, but you'd be able to point her out in this movie. Um, and a little side note, since I'm kind of talking a little bit on the cast, another reason why I kind of brought up Priscilla Pointer, who plays Mrs. Snell. Her daughter, who actually portrayed Sue Snell, Amy Irving, they're actually mother and daughter in real life. So, you know, they're related in real life, and they're also playing a mother-daughter duo in a movie. I always kind of like little things like that, little tidbits like that, so figured I'd share it with you guys. And Amy Irving, I know she's been in quite a few things too, but I think she was also in the sequel to Carrie to the Rage, um, which it's been years and years. I think I saw that movie like twice when I was like maybe in high school. Yeah, that movie sucks. Hardcore. But anyway, so getting on to actually the 1976 version of Carrie. Um, God, I think I first saw this movie when I was like really young, like I know I saw it before, like, Night of the Living Dead. So I probably saw it when I was in, like, first or second grade. Once again, I know people are like, what are you doing watching movies like this when you're in first or second grade? Once again, probably because my siblings were watching it. I don't know. But yeah, God, this movie just, um, a lot of people seem to love this movie. Like, even I think my mom is even kind of like commented on it of like that she has liked it and stuff. Kind of creeped her out a little bit. Um, but yeah, just and obviously there's like a lot of like religious stuff in here. Because I mean, Carrie's mom's so flippin' outrageously religious, which anyone who's that religious just it's kind of tone it down a little. Um, no, but there's so much like religious stuff in there, and I know Brian De Palma, who directed this movie, actually kind of would put like extra like religious stuff just all over like the house and everything, little like things for like symbolism and everything, which I think is kind of cool, especially like I said, considering Mrs. White is so crazy religious. And something that I noticed in this movie, actually a couple of times, like, is when Carrie and her mom are having dinner. When Carrie tells her mom that she was asked to prom and said that she was going to go, that the painting behind them is the painting of the Last Supper, which I feel like is kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing for things to come, because it's kind of like definitely suggesting like, okay, something really horrible is going to happen, and probably both of these women are not going to make it to the end of the movie. Let me know what you guys think about that. Maybe I'm just reading way too much into that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of interesting to put something like that, especially something like The Last Supper. And then also even too at the end, like I was actually talking to Chris the other night at work about like how Carrie's mom at the end, like she's Carrie pretty much kills her with like all the knives and like sharp objects being thrown into her, and then she's like pinned up against the wall, and she's got her head like is like leaning on her right shoulder or whatever, just kind of like how Jesus was when he was on the cross. Another really bold religious statement right there. And it's actually interesting too, because I feel like with Carrie's mom's death, Mrs. White's death, it's another thing of like going back to Jesus, where like Jesus kind of died for everyone's sins and everything. Well, in this case, it's similar, where Mrs. White basically, especially when she's all like, "Oh, Carrie, you sinned," basically almost in a sense is dying for Carrie's sins, which and then in turn Carrie ends up like dying for, I guess, her mom's sins and her sins by like taking her mom's lifeless body into the closet, and like the house collapses and is up in flames. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of stuff like that in this movie, and I love movies like that where it's like, it's cluttered with stuff in a good way, where it's not like overwhelming or like useless little things in there for like people to pick up on or whatever, or to kind of like figure out and like make little connections and everything like that. Done in a really good way, and it's done right. So, but yeah, I think little, like I said, little stuff like that just kind of interest me. Um, oh, and also the high school that they're at. I don't know how many of you have caught this, but the high school's name is Bates High, which is a reference to Norman Bates, obviously, and like Bates Motel, and even I believe like the sharp like in the movie, I believe that was actually pretty much I want to say inspired, but I think more just kind of like ripped off from Psycho. Which is another thing you see is like little Easter eggs and stuff like that in movies that kind of are nods to other movies in the business, which is once again I eat that stuff up. Um, but yeah, just so much stuff in this movie. Um, like I said, it came out in 1976, so happy 40th to the movie Carrie. And this was actually the first Stephen King uh, novel to be adapted to film. So, without this film, without this book, I mean, who knows? We might not have had such incredible, incredible movies. Not all of them that great, but still, like, you know, The Stand, It, mm, Tim Curry and It. Mm. But no, I mean, a slew of things, um, that have been, it's pretty much like, oh, Stephen King just released a book. Okay, when are we making it into a movie now? It was much different back then, like I said. Carrie was the first one to do that. Um, and also, the ending where, Sue Snell, that sort of like dreamlike state or whatever, where she's going up to the empty lot or whatever, and she's placing the flowers down, and then boom, Carrie's hand comes up. I don't think. I mean, I think this might have been one of the first movies with like a jump scare at the end. I dare to say it was the first, but I feel like if I were, it'd be like no, that like there were other movies who did that first. But I know that ending had a big, well, I shouldn't say big, but had enough of an impact on Tom Savini for the end of Sean S. Cunningham's Friday the 13th. Like, I know they were kind of like, oh, what do we do for the end? What do we do for the end? We need to do something for the end. And that's when they were like, oh, hey, let's have a Jason pop out of the water at the end. So, maybe if we didn't have the ending to Carrie, that hand popping up, we might not have the ending to Friday the 13th with old Jason coming up, and we might not have had, up-teen horrible sequels and a dreadfully horrible crossover franchise with Freddy vs. Jason and a horrible remake. But whatever. So yeah, I mean, this movie, like, it's one of my favorites. I watch it pretty regularly. And also, too, I know I was going to kind of talk a minute or two about the remakes. So yes, there are two remakes to this film. The first of which was done in 2002, or released, I should say, in 2002. It was a TV movie, so like they redid it, aired it on TV. And little interesting side note on this is that this remake was actually supposed to serve as a pilot to a Carrie TV show. So kind of like how Bates Motel is right now, or Hannibal, with all those sort of like TV series that are going on, like horror TV series that were based off of horror movies or franchises. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we never got that. And I guess the premise of that show was supposed to be that we were going to kind of follow Carrie White around, the country or wherever, like, see this, like, new life that she was supposed to start over. Because in that version, she actually does not end up dying at the end. She actually survives. So then from there, it was supposed to be, oh, whatever happened to Carrie White? Like, what happened? Like, what is she up to? But like I said, kind of maybe fortunately we didn't get that. And actually, Carrie White in that was played by Angela Bettis. She's been in quite a bit too. She plays a lot of like offbeat characters. Like she was May in the movie May. She did. I know she did an episode of Masters of Horror where she was like, her character was like insected bugs, whatever that technical term is, and was like into bugs and everything. And she was also in Girl Interrupted. She was like the really anorexic girl who, you know, in the one scene when they're talking about like being bushes or whatever, she's like, "Oh, I'm an effing shrub or something." Like that's who played Carrie White. Um, and then obviously there was the more recent 2013's Carrie, starring sorry, total brain fart. Chloe Chloe Grace Moretz, sorry. And that one I actually kind of liked that remake, especially compared to the 2002 remake. Leaps and bounds better than the 2002 one. But yeah, like for those of you who have seen the 2013 one and you're like, dude, that sucked. It sucked. Go watch the 2002 one, then rewatch the 2013 one, and you're gonna be like, not that bad, not that bad. And that's what I mean about like with me sometimes, because I know I've said it before. I say it all the time, where I see so many like horrible versions of movies or remakes or just god awful movies, and then to see something like a 2013 Carrie, it's like, eh, not that bad, not that bad. So, um, but yeah, so like I said, I just want to kind of touch base on those a little bit. I will probably eventually do the 2013 Carrie somewhere down the road. But yeah, so if you guys have anything to like maybe add about Carrie or give your feedback about Carrie, let me know, because you guys know I love hearing about this. So yeah, let me know. And till next time, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next time. Got a couple of ideas, but not sure yet. But yeah, until then, you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you probably in the next day or two.